Yes, yes. Now you got to turn your mic on. That's step one. Yeah, Grand Rising. Had to poo. Assalamu alaikum. Salam te. Salam. Peace. Watagwan. Hail up. You know what I mean? Greetings. Greetings. Enough love to everybody tuned in. Bless up for being here. Let's do some greetings real quick. What a quick one this morning. We're going to go in and come out real quick. Just introduce the topic, get into the meditation, and go in and listen to the radio broadcast. We're going to listen to that radio broadcast on Vibe 103. Well, I'm going to do that. And I'm suggesting we do it. And then today we'll just talk a little bit about legal issues and the implication of, well, not the implication, the direction we need to take and which legal strategies are best. What legal strategies and do we pursue? Because on Monday we had a heavy session on some legal strategies, you know what I mean? Essentially, that whole category. And so today we got more, but comments through the radio, but really need to consider these issues and lay out our strategy and work as a collective. This whole thing we're doing, the meditating together, visualizing together, having these reasonings together, that collective. Then we function as a body, and when we choose what is the best avenue, do it as a group. That's what I put forward. Let me take down because we're live already. Need to run, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's the piece we want to focus on and get clear and make some decisions. People are already a part of the group that are members are doing different, applying different strategies. Let's take some time to evaluate that, get some feedback from the audience who what you feel is the best direction. And then I'm proposing that we come back later and have a follow-up conversation after the radio show. I think about a time, maybe this evening. Let me give some time to go do some research, come back, and then have a heavy show this evening. I'm thinking that might be the route. But anyway, let's do some greetings. Yes, Toy, any place. Bless up, Toy. Bless up, sister. Bless up, family. The wellness warrior. Toy, bless up. And Toy, yeah, we got some information today about the um I don't want to call it alternative, but options for our children, learning options for our children, and they're going to be modular. We'll put together a structure that's modular. You can sign up for packages, or let's say a pathway. Um, I'll give you some descriptions more, but it's come together, it's shaped together, and you sign up for what you want piece by piece, and you put together your own curriculum in a flexible way, bringing the genius out of the children, finding out what they want to learn, unschooling, a whole unschooling philosophy. We got the pieces in place. So bless up Toy for being there. Bless up Courtney. Bless up family. Give thanks, family. Always here. Courtney don't miss a minute of what we're doing here on dCyfa. We could just go back to Courtney's memory. He's got the whole thing in his head. Frenchie, Charlène is in the house, but she's greeting you guys. Shalom, Che, bless up for being in this space. So real quick, yeah, but let's look at the legal strategists. Let's listen to the radio program, and on Vibe 103, they're having in Charles Richardson and his partner or his understudy, Aaron Hill. I think some Chambers, what I can't remember the name of his Lord Chambers. And they're going to discuss constitutional law. And what I want to put that in the framework of what some of the stuff we looked at on Monday, and other options were looked at on the table, put on the table, pursuing the ombudsman, pursuing the Human Rights Commission, and this Nuremberg style, which is international tribunals type actions. So put all that on the table, do some research, and then what I prepare is we come back tonight 7 p.m. and oh no, I can't do 7 tonight. Yeah, we got to find a time. I'll post the time. Hopefully you guys can make it. And go back over what the radio station comes up with. So let's get into the meditation really quickly, and get that aspect covered. Make sure we're tuned in and tapped in, because it's if we're working from out of our heads, and it's all mental process, that's what leads us astray. That's the overall emphasis behind what we're doing in dCyfa is tap into the source, let go of the thoughts through these methods that our ancestors have laid down for us. Let go of the thoughts for a while so you can refresh your operating system, your natural operating system, not this artificial one they're trying to implement on our people using this biological warfare. Nothing more. Or biological. You can't absolutely describe the intentions. So using biological warfare may be a bit early. Let's let the full information come in, because they may be just incompetent, and incompetence doesn't, you didn't wage war. If I make a mistake and blow up my whole neighborhood or something, you know what I mean? I didn't drop a bomb on them, but it was my, I didn't know how to handle these gases or whatever, and blew up, and killed people, and this is still blood on my hands, but my intentions weren't to kill those people. So I not to be harsh and bring up death in this scenario. What I'm saying is that we don't know their intentions. So what they're doing is definitely not in the overall health perspective. So let's tap in and make sure that we're going to the source and bringing solutions that are holistic and going to lead to healing in the end, in the outcome. Yes, give thanks. And then we'll bring Frenchie in and have a little bit of conversation around them principles, and then go to the radio show. All right? Yeah. So in that light, let's get this meditation on, get some breathing going. Full breathing, building up that capacity. You know what I mean? Building up that the ability, that stamina is a key piece, right? Maintaining this breath so that it becomes a habit. Being able to deep breathe, right? Because that is the real control mechanism over all of this, over your emotional body, your mental state, the real control you have over that involuntary part of your body is to train it. And you train it by voluntarily doing deep meditation. So let's get it in. Full breathing, you know how go. Get your pulse right, back erect, so you can get that energy flowing up your chakras, right? Do about 5 minutes, you know how I go. All right. Yes. Give thanks. Give thanks. Bless up. Hey. You can. I mean, you feel the relaxation of your brain. Just let it go, man. Let all that nonsense, that chatter. I mean, a lot of it ain't even out there because once it gets in your head, that chatter, let that go. Huh? Let that go. It's not mine. Them thoughts are not mine. Oh, that Ray. Huh? It is not mine. Yes, give thanks for God some more people in the place. Bless up as the space starts to, you know what I mean? The community starts to build up. Yes, Miss Easton, Alicia, bless up for being in this spot. In the good household. Give thanks for your presence. Appreciate you. Now you're tuned in. Sophia there. Bless up, Sophia. Give thanks for everything yesterday and everything you guys are doing in the background and been doing for the community. Give thanks. Huh? Because we got to heal our women. Heal the womb, man. Huh? That brings forth life. If we ain't focused on that, we ain't doing nothing. And if that hospital, whatever you want to call it, hospital, like they say, the old folks say, go up the hospital. Huh? It's better off. Yes, some more greetings. Yes, Deb, bless up, Deborah. Circle of women, bless up, Deb. Frenchie sending out love to everybody. So yeah, that light. Let me bring I'm bubbling. Let me bring Frenchie in. Let's get over to let's have a quick reason. Yes, French.
Grand
Grand
Rising.
Rising.
Don't
Don't
forget
forget
the
the
echo.
echo.
Yes, shucks. Had it every time. Bless up. Give thanks for reminding me.
Grand Rising, everybody. Lovely to hear you and see everybody. I personally didn't feel like this was 5 minutes. I literally felt like I just closed my eyes, and by the time I quieted the chatter that you were talking about, I definitely heard that chatter this morning. My mind was going left, right, and center, thinking about laws and regulations and getting frustrated a little bit. And I was like, no, wait. This is not what we're doing right now. Just breathe.
Breathe.
And
Yeah.
the image that helps me when I do that breathing is I see my chakras. When I inhale, I see them like those wind
Chimes.
yeah, not the wind chimes, but the thing that turn with the wind. I don't know how to call that in English. It's like a little wheel that you put on the stick, and then when the wind you can blow on it, it makes a turn.
Well, fam. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, so each one of my chakras look like that in my head, and when I inhale, I make them turn down to the root chakra and back up when and it really helps to just focus. But yeah, just wanted to share that real quick. Don't want to take too much time. We got to make time. 7
Yeah.
minutes to 9:30.
7 minutes
So
tonight.
let's just give a little intro to the topic and get on. Yeah,
Uh,
windmill. Thank you, Alicia. Windmill.
yeah,
Or pinwheel.
Pinwheel. Yes. Pinwheel. Yes. Keish is back. Keish is becoming a regular. Bless up, Keish, for your support. Long time. Go all the way back. Bless up, Keish. Yes. The windmill. Alicia was first with it. Windmill, pinwheel. Canterbury, woke up. You got up, Canter. Bless up, Canterbury. He could resist. He heard that going on. So yeah, let me get a little meditation here.
You heard my voice, yeah.
Give thanks. So, in that light, yes. So, yeah, we got a quick 5 minutes. So, what I'm proposing is we go in, just have a quick introduction to the topic, the legal considerations that we should be taking in, and doing it as a group. And let's listen in to this, what brother Charles Richardson's got to say in terms of constitutional law. Um, and I put the question forward. I didn't do the banner part. I put the question forward. No, is is constitutional law our exit strategy from all of this COVID, uh, this big COVID situation? Is us pursuing constitutional law going to free us up? Really, not the COVID. Ran out of words, but space to put it on the poster. Um, Not the COVID. It's not going to get us out of COVID. Getting us out of our predicament with government and their response to COVID and the pandemic, right? How do we, as people that are choosing natural immunity, that are facilitating and supporting natural immunity? Oh, okay, Camila saying she submitted a question. Yes, give thanks to the panel. Yes, yes, because you could have sent it to Vibe 103. I don't know if it's too late. To Vibe103fam.com. You can submit questions and see how they respond. They respond. So we talked about it a little bit on Monday. Well, we talked about it in segments throughout since the beginning. What can be some of the remedies that we can apply to counteract or bring balance back to the situation for our lives, for the people around us? And we should consider all options. Put all options on the table. Evaluate them. Look at it as a group. Use this group think principle, right? Of all,
Mm,
right? You know what I mean? With our backgrounds and our insight and going into meditation and taking it in and looking for an avenue that'll bring solutions. uh,
yes.
let me if you have a comment real quick, let me go to my.
I do. I'm just thinking about, us fulfilling our purpose. Like I was saying this morning, that was the focus of my meditation, and how I feel about, the law and its intricacies. Because basically, the government has a face, right? And they like to say that they are keeping us safe, and they put forward a positive facade.
Hmm.
So, my strategy in my life with people that would do that would be taking their word for cash. But in my mind, I knew, you know, that it wasn't necessarily true, but putting that truth that they would put forward to the test.
Right.
So, if you say that, then I should act upon your words. And because it's a high probability that some of these words aren't true, then we make that come to the surface by putting that system to the test, taking those laws, analyzing them, and taking action in consequence. Now, I'm not a law professional. I'm not a lawyer. I English is my third language, so I'd certainly have a weakness when it comes to reading law. But I trust that within our community, there are people who are fitted for that role. So I just want to, say that out loud. And if you are that person listening, and if you have a deeper understanding of the law, and if you see the discrepancies, and if you can help us put that forward, that would be really greatly appreciated.
Mhm. Yes, give thanks for that. Yeah, the contribution from community. Build up this community. Bring keep that formula going. Each one reach one, and bring this group together, strength by strength. You know what I mean? Don't have to
Mm.
grow fast, but grow strong, grow stronger, and everybody making their contribution. So we got about 8 minutes left. I mean, 8 minutes, 2 minutes left. And then tune in over there. I'm gonna run this track, but what I'm pushing that we come back at 7. I checked my schedule. Got this course I'm doing and a seminar I'm gonna attend. at 4 to 5. So I'm clear. So let's come back at 7. So let's do some research, go back in and come back at 7 p.m. and go in on this legal issue a bit further, make considerations, you know what I mean, to the different strategies, the exit strategies we need to get out of this. What I propose is come out of this whole system. So what I put forward is constitutional law. We can talk, and everybody bring their perspectives, but constitutional law is still within this paradigm. That's really meaning you identify with this constitution, which is a part of a system that was created to maintain us in a certain status, right? Disempowered, unempowered. So have that in your framework, right? But then we need short term and long term results. You know what I mean? Long term might be to remove ourselves. Short term might be deal with this right in front of us. And then, like, yes, give thanks. Let's pull out. I'm gonna run this. Give thanks for your comments, French. Give thanks everybody that was tuned in. Let's pull out and go to Vibe 103 if you want to. Listen to that, and then I'll be back here at 7 p.m. and get into a reason. I'm gonna run this accountable track and then switch over. Right.
Thank you.
Yes, bless up.
The cries of the people, leaders fail.
Yes, give thanks, Stacy. Give thanks for being in your place.
We the people gonna hold the government accountable. Tell the Queen's Council accountable.
We're gonna hold them accountable.
We the people gonna hold the pharmaceutical companies accountable. Mr. Constable accountable.
Yeah, if you want, I could run the radio show right from here. So if you want, stay tuned, stay in here. If you want, stay in here. I'll run the radio right after this.
Accountable. With them rush vaccine, Pfizer vaccine, them no care if it hurt you. What that mean? Accountable. Tell the constable. Yeah. Story come to boom. Control population stunt. The leaders them now.
Okay. Switching over. I'm gonna pull up the radio.
Yeah. Over 1 million and that people die, and I know we not see no leaders. I cry, wonder why. They must be born without eyes. Yeah. Them say the roads overpopulated. Them why we get frustrated. Them say every black woman and child and black man should be vaccinated. We never come here for dinner, human guinea pig.
Yeah, we're gonna hold them accountable. I don't even think I pulled up the tune. I didn't even pull up the. You didn't even get that tune as heavy as it comes. But yeah, all right. Where is it? I don't hear it yet. Let me refresh this. Maybe be right back. It says be right back. I'm on that Twitch page. I'm gonna pull that up on the screen. Same way. Stop screen. Share screen. Yeah, I'm hearing I see be right back. Do you guys hear? Okay, here it comes. Okay, so they're running some music. They're running some tune. So when they come in, I'm gonna keep it low in the background. Take that down and get into this reasoning. I ain't asked nobody no permission to do this. You know how we do. We're just gonna do it. We do the repercussions after the fact. Because we work in the light, you know what I mean? You gotta ask permission. When you work in the light, you gotta ask permission. Let your conscience guide you, huh? I've always been a little bit of a rebel myself anyway, you know what I mean? Yeah, I ain't really going the regular route anytime. Canterbury says, COVID, creating our vision in detail. We aren't on lockdown within. They're lying through their screens. Bless up, Canterbury. Hey, we're gonna definitely, that's a track. That must be a track you're running on for tomorrow's session. Huh? Yeah, I'm on with job property. Give thanks, Canterbury. Yeah, that COVID, that's got to be a piece. Creating our vision in detail. COVID, change this back up. We got to take possession of the whole thing, technology, the whole thing, build it up for our way. You know what I mean? Okay, so I'm just hearing tune. I'm just hearing tune coming out of the station so far. Let me keep it not too low. So as soon as they come back in, I guess they're getting set up. All right, they're going to be right back. I don't know if anybody's on the radios. If they could confirm, is the Twitch feed getting something else? I'm gonna pull up the TuneIn feed, CMB, and see if that brings anything else. Meantime, I'm gonna run the track again because the not playing nothing. We don't know if anybody knows who this artist is for this accountable. Please submit it. Oh, they got music back on. Yeah, somebody's gonna burn me time, innit? Yes, Keish. Somebody, I don't know, but you know what I mean. It getting these type of things organized, not easy. No, I got no rights to run that. I'm gonna pull that down. I'm gonna run this accountable while they're playing that track. Like I said, anybody knows this accountable track, and who's the? How come it's not playing? Oh, I got my thing down. Turn that down. Turn that down to bottom, and then turn this up. Pull this track up again. I heard the cries of the As I said, whoever knows the author of this song, please find out. Accountable. Who is the author? It's been shared, but we don't know who sings it.
Tell the Queen's Council accountable. We the people gonna hold the pharmaceutical companies accountable. Mr. Constable accountable. We the people gonna hold the world leaders and scientists accountable. Tell the Queen's Council accountable.
You know that voice? Is this Cure? Not Cure, right?
What that mean accountable? Tell the constable. Yeah. Story come to boom. Control population stunt. The leaders them not be up front. Bill Gates safe in a bunk. Yeah. Over 1 million and not people die and all know. See no leaders I cry wonder why.
Okay, so okay, Myers came here. More life, more love. Yeah, the artist named Ginger. Okay, it's on. All right, let me switch over.
So, for what reason, to what extent, and for how long? The questions have been asked. And this morning, you gentlemen are here from the constitutional side with law. So this isn't just something that's about hearsay. To explain to the listeners what can and can't be done as far as the constitutional laws are concerned. So I'm going to let you, Mr. Richardson, take it away.
Morning, how you doing?
Sorry about that. Hey, I'm blessed, you know. I'm blessed.
Okay. You sound like you're all wide awake.
Hey, this is the morning rush.
All right. I guess the best place to start is to acknowledge that when you're talking about fundamental rights and privileges and liberty, this is always going to be a thorny issue. It's always going to be something that people aren't going to completely agree on. So let's start there. But despite that, every person's opinion on this issue has to be treated as valid because it's so important that the only way we're really going to get a solid solution is if we combine both sides and reach a compromise.
Yes.
So the whole issue right now is that there is a segment of Bermuda, and we have been instructed by a client who feels very strongly about it, that believes that the present restrictions and the proposed restrictions, they go too far. Now, what do we mean by go too far? I think everybody's aware that Mr. Dio very recently gave an interview in which he took the view that what the government was doing was, I guess, completely justified. I think our position is this. When you admit, and this is how it works, when you admit, as the government has to, and this isn't personal for me in any way, and let me put it out there now, because I actually have been vaccinated. But when you admit that you are engaged in someone's right to freely move about Bermuda as they please and to live their lives as they determine, and to decide whether or not they will accept into their bodies what they may deem to be an experimental drug. When you begin to admit that those rights are
I wonder what that BP is. Probably because
then follows
it wasn't on last time.
The government then has to demonstrate that the restrictions, and it's true, your constitutional rights can be restricted in certain emergency situations.
Emergency situations. The key word right now is emergency.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And the language is a bit more refined than that. But emergency situation would broadly cover a public health situation, such as what we find ourselves in now. So there's no doubt that the government can limit the exercise of those rights. But here is the rub of it. Those limitations must be as least invasive as possible in order to achieve the stated aim. And if you're going to determine or discuss, well, are these means as least invasive as possible? Are they reasonably justifiable in a democratic society? The moment you begin to have that discussion, that's where the science
I'm going to try the tuning. I'm going to try pull up the tuning.
And the only way you're going to have a proper ventilation of those issues is through a constitutional motion where a court is going to be asked to assess the evidence that the government's going to produce. Scientific evidence which says that, which should substantiate that these measures, these limitations, these draconian measures are absolutely necessary in order for us to cope with this pandemic. And then people like my client can present his side of the case, which says, no, we agree, some limitations are necessary, but you've gone too far. You could do this, and this. We have this resource, and that resource now. What you're planning to do just goes too far. That's the nub of it.
Now, as we discuss constitutional rights, which constitutional rights do you say violated?
Well, let's be careful. I wouldn't go so far as to make a blanket pronouncement that these rights have been violated.
These are, by the way, these are questions. I just want to put out there that these are questions that have come in from concerned public. So, obviously not everything's going to...
That sounds worse and beeping also. So we'll go back to the Twitch.
The language I would use, which rights would I say are being engaged and which rights would...
Yeah, I guess this
motion, the government be required to demonstrate
the beep is there's a technician in the background. The beep is from Charles being on a phone.
Are reasonably justifiable in a democratic society. or are reasonably justifiable, period.
Mm.
The first one I would say that on its face engaged is Article 5 or Section 5, which is protection from arbitrary arrest or detention. Because let's be totally clear about it, being confined in a government-funded isolation facility. And I love that language. I mean, that's the language of somebody privileged, you know.
I didn't realize that.
Who doesn't understand that no matter where you are incarcerated, if you are locked in a room for a period, that's prison.
Mm.
That's jail.
Yes.
You're being given meals at scheduled time. You're allowed activity at scheduled time. You haven't been convicted of any crime, you know.
Okay.
This is all on the presupposition that you might pose a health risk, even though you're actually healthy. So let's get away from that. What would happen if you decide to come back to Bermuda after the 6th, notionally speaking?
You're talking about June 6th?
Yes, after June 6th.
Mm.
And you're not vaccinated, is that you'll be required to be detained in another facility at your own expense.
Yes, because to be honest, that's the major concern, you know, with everything being laid out. You know, the uprising is for those who may not have chosen to get the vaccine for whatever reason. And I want to put this out there, for whatever reason, whether it be a medical, whether it be personal, religious, whatever reason. So they have to travel, or they've traveled. They come back to the island. And this is what's been said. I'm just not making this up. This is what's been said. So you come back to the island, you will have to be in a government facility for 2 weeks. This is what people are uprising about. Why are they being forced to do this? Like, you know, why am I forced to do this?
Well, I think the answer coming from the other side, and it's really important to put this into context, that this is the type of discussion that inevitably has to take place if either people on either side are going to accept the results and we're going to move forward with some type of comity. But this is the discussion that has to take place. Why? That's the question. Why should I have to do that? And the government's answer would probably be, quite blatantly, because we can't trust you to go home and quarantine in your own isolation because you've proven that that's not what you're going to do. Now, of course, my answer to that would be, well, it's a bit unfair to impose a blanket prohibition on everyone just because some people might notionally violate the law. And then the question becomes, is there a less invasive way to enforce what we'd like to call self-quarantine? It was mentioned that electronic monitoring would be too expensive, and should the government pay for that? Well, my answer to that, I don't want to sound crass, is, well, if you're imposing the limitation, yes.
I mean, you're thinking of it as an extreme. Or you're not saying nothing, you're speaking of it as an extreme.
As what is an extreme?
As far as like the being put in the government facility, or, you know, the electronic monitoring and or whatnot, that, you know,
being put in a government facility, essentially a government prison, in my opinion, is what I would say would be the extreme measure that is available to the government. Yes, but is there a less invasive measure which can achieve the same goal? Now, what's wrong with electronic tagging? Well, it might be expensive. Well, let's think about the cost of electronic tagging spread out amongst a number of people who are then allowed to actually go home and be monitored. I think they have less complaint in paying, say, a couple of $100 for the cost of renting the equipment and being allowed to do in their own home than to be placed in the government. You see, that is the conversation that will have to take place in a court of law, and that's why justice is called a set of scales. The government side goes on one side, the people's side goes on the other side, and the court has to weigh and find the balance.
It has to be a balance. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, as small as Bermuda is, there has to be a balance. There can't be, you know, one side and this is this, and the other side this is that, because the divide that's being created right now is, let's be honest, I'm going to keep it 100% right now. The divide, and it's right there for all to see, is the vaccinated versus the non-vaccinated. And then you have, then again, you have some who are vaccinated, who are vaccinated who can empathize with the issues that those who choose not to have who are taken as well. So, in a point like this right now, people want to they just want the clarity. They want the clarity. They want the transparency, and yeah, that's it. Now, I do have some questions right now from some of if you tell me that it's a choice whether or not to get vaccinated, why penalize those who chose not to get it?
That's a question for me.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think the argument that you would get is that no one's being penalized for not getting it. That would be the official response.
Okay. All right. Well,
now, you and I both know that on the other end of it, to the person, the recipient, the individual who has to undergo a different regime from a vaccinated person, it doesn't feel like they're not being penalized. To them, it feels like a penalty. So the question is going to be whether or not, as a matter of law, those distinctions and those differences in treatment can or do in certain situations amount to a penalty. But again, that's a discussion that can only meaningfully take place inside a court of law.
So certain things have to, like you said, they would have to go to the court of law because we still.
If you want a definitive answer, yes.
Yes.
I mean, we could have this debate in the public arena from now until the cows come in.
Yes.
But if you really feel strongly about it, and you have a right to feel strongly about it, and no one in the government should take it personal that a constitutional motion is being brought, it was inevitable that someone was going to ask the court to tell them, are my rights being violated?
Yeah, because another question I do have is, what happens if one refuses to be detained, basically is the word, and why is it targeted to one sector of the community and not local transmission cases?
Well, that question you first asked is something that was discussed in my household just this morning.
Okay.
Because I have two sons who are in the United Kingdom. And I like to bring them in every summer.
Yes.
So they can enjoy
Bermuda.
what they remember to be their Bermudian heritage. Oh, they love it.
Yes.
And the idea, if they decide not to be vaccinated, that they have to be confined for 14 days in a facility, I mean, it just, for personal reasons, doesn't really sit well with me. And I recognize that the government has to do something to prevent this, the spread of new strains or the entrance of new strains.
Yes.
But then the question that arises as a father is, well, is there some other measure that can be employed which allows my sons to maintain their liberty and dignity while at the same time satisfying your requirement that they keep everyone else safe? I mean, there has to be another way. And that is the question. Is there another less invasive way to impose the restrictions that are necessary without completely extinguishing or running a coach and horses through people's rights?
I'm hearing this right now. My listeners are hearing this right now. Questions are being asked and answered the right way. And then, like you said, this could be
okay.
like
Maybe you
said,
can still send in questions, guys. So 103 FM
both sides and whatnot. But until
.com.
this is taken to the court of law, and
Something
of
like
course,
that.
people just want to explain to you that we still. I mean, what's been said's been said, and we still don't know.
Vibe103.com. You can still send in questions, apparently, seeing people asking questions.
So things are being set up in a case of. In a case of this going to that extreme. Now, if it's not, then we will move accordingly. I mean, the island will move accordingly. So I got a question.
Not basically. That is exactly what they're saying, Che.
Fostering an ideology and environment of separatism and prejudice between vaccinated and non-vaccinated. I mean, that's the general question because that's constantly showing up over and over, and that's one that you have answered, and I appreciate that. Now, there is something also set up if the initial plans are going forth the way they are for services of lawyers, because some people are not going to sit down and just accept it. So I want to at this time allow you to just shut out your chambers. And Mr. Aaron, you've been quiet. Good morning to you, sir.
Well, I was waiting. I think you and Mr. Richardson have highlighted what is the core issue there.
Yes.
I did want to say, obviously, we're instructed and insisted by Dr. Courtney Griffiths of 25 Bedford Row in the United Kingdom, and he and Charles actually had Charles, and I had a discussion this morning. And I think it's important for your listeners to understand, and Charles will expand on it, is that this is going to be the first time that the government is going to be put to proof to explain exactly why. There are a lot of questions, but this is not so much a challenge in as much as we're saying, hey, you're wrong, this is an attack. It's actually a request for clarity so that everyone, no matter which side of the divide you stand on, will understand the reasons. And that's actually a methodical approach with each provision. So it's not a challenge to say, hey, the regulations are unconstitutional, we throw them out. But each provision, there's a curfew, 8 p.m. Why, medically, by way of evidence, is that necessary? And as Charles said, is there an alternative? There's other provisions, and you take them one by one. And that's essentially what Mr. Richardson and Mr. Griffith are going to do in this hearing. And I'll let Charles expand on that. But before I pass it over, I did want to say that later today, we have teamed up with Mr. Griffith and signed up to what is called crowd justice. And this is one of, the important issues, and it's going to be a historic one that goes to the heart of your individual and fundamental rights. And to that end, we do see, and Charles and I have discussed it, hey, listen, where does this end? No matter what that ruling is in the Supreme Court, we would think, and Charles will expand on it, that this has to go to the highest court of authority, and that being the Privy Council, to get some type of clarity so that we, whatever the decision is, can accept it. And having said that, I'll pass it back over to Charles.
Yeah, I was hoping that you would be able to publicize the link to the website for crowd justice, because
later today, now that everyone's had an opportunity to understand the gravamen of the argument that's being advanced, later today, and hopefully, Chubb, you'll be able to promote that. There will be a link that will be circulated, and people will see it. There's no doubt about that. People will see it and hear about it, and they will know how to support.
All right. So that's it. So this time, Mr. Richardson, I'll allow you to, I want to say piggyback off of what Aaron has just said. You could just continue on that.
Yeah. Basically, that hits the nail on the head, man. This is a discussion that has to take place, and I can't see it being a discussion that's going to end simply in our Supreme Court.
I'm not exactly familiar with the proceedings of the Supreme Court. Yes, sir. But let's say this is taken to court. How long would something like this take to reach a decision, a mutual decision or anything like that? Could you answer that?
I don't want to speak out of turn, but I do have a strange feeling looking at the way that litigation has progressed and the speed at which it's progressed in other jurisdictions, that because it is a pressing issue, the courts are likely to expedite hearings because it is, and one of the constitutional challenges, it's going to be a matter of public importance that there is a resolution as soon as possible. So whilst I can't give exact timeline,
no, I mean I wouldn't say you'd be like, they deliberate on it and be back in 6 hours. I wouldn't expect that type of answer. Obviously that's not going to happen. But
what I will
like you
say
said, expedite the time.
It's not the type of matter that I could see any court would drag its feet on. Let's put it that way.
Especially with the concerns of the community, because
it's a present pressing concern, yes, and the court would take that into account and would try as best as it can to expedite hearings in this type of matter. And I guess the good thing is hearings in these types of matters can actually take place remotely now.
Absolutely.
And I guess, Chubb, one of the things to basically say is that because the regulations, specifically the one with respect to mandatory quarantine that has to be self-funded, doesn't take place until the actual, or take effect until the 6th of June. One of the prayers for relief that is being asked for by the client is that if that particular provision is stayed pending the outcome of the decision. So we will see, because it may not be practical depending on our actual circumstances to have the argument prior to then. And the court may say, well, in lieu of that and the serious consequences of if we're allowed to proceed, and I later decide that, it's unlawful or unconstitutional or extends too far, that, hey, listen, let's wait a minute. So we're going to stay the effect of that particular provision until we actually make a determination. So, it may not be the case that we have to wait so long for an actual determination. It may be. But one of those prayers for relief is to basically stay that 6th of June effective date for that. And I know that there are a lot of particularly young Bermudians who are overseas, cash-strapped in college and university.
And parents paying for college as well. You know what I mean?
Don't leave the parents out. Don't leave the parents out.
Yeah, you can't. You said you students. One nigga, these students are like, oh, you know, I'm sending you money.
But that's spoken like a true student.
Yeah, I heard that.
I say that, guys, because I find myself in that position, being a student.
Okay.
And so we, as this issue, we consider it in our context. And so there are a number of issues that have to be ventilated. There are issues that this particular client has that may, for example, may not engage other issues. But in order for us to have this conversation before the court, for the first time ever, every provision will be tested, the evidence will be required, and all of the issues will be fully ventilated with respect to whether you're a student, whether you're a parent, or whether you're someone who just fundamentally believes, I don't wish to be vaccinated.
Now, Aaron, I heard you say that for those, if you said all issues, now would that be all the major concerns of this right now? Because plenty of people are looking at different. I don't know where you stand, where your stance is on answering these questions, but as far as the different businesses that are closed down right now. When I say closed down, doing only curbside and things of the sort, like will all those type of issues be taken through as well?
Well, this is the thing, Charles. Not every claim will warrant being included in a constitutional motion.
Okay.
There are some limitations that we will have to accept from the outset are reasonable. But there are others that we will argue are not. An exhaustive list of what they are will not be able to be compiled at this stage until we fundamentally sifted through all of the evidence and all of the claims that we're likely to receive.
And that would be you as the legal front.
Yes, Mr. Griffiths and I will sift through and essentially pick the strongest points to go forward with, based on the instructions that are given by our clients.
All right. Now, I'm ignorant to the fact right now. So, if the current government at the time chooses what they want to make law. Is that something that they can go forth and do, or is that something they have to pass through and the people have to, like I say, vote on it? I don't know.
No. Well, what happens is depending on what type of law it is. Some laws require scrutiny by the entire House of Parliament.
Yes.
This is not one of those laws. This is what they call subordinate legislation that the government has been passing, which only has to go through a lesser procedure.
A subordinate.
So no, it doesn't have to be vetted by both houses of Parliament or even one House of Parliament.
Again, part of my ignorance, why is that?
Well, that's the way that the Public Health Act is drafted. That's the way most legislation in Bermuda is drafted. It's what they call, and I don't want to get too technical, there's what they call a Parent Act, and then there's what they call subordinate acts, which are passed under the authority of the Parent Act. And it's usually the minister responsible for whichever ministry is referenced in the legislation. That minister will be responsible for creating those regulations. And that's what you have now, the public health COVID regulations. So those have been created under the authority of the Public Health Act.
All right, so when you say subordinate, obviously are you speaking of the community?
No, I'm talking about their legal ranking.
The legal ranking. Okay. All right. Now, I'm here for the information. That's what I'm here for.
I got you.
My listeners are too. Things like this, we can have the discussion all day. Yes. So at the end of the day, it's a matter of you listening to the voice of the people, the different concerns, the different things that are put in place now, and like you said, you would sift through those which things are
those which
imperative.
Are meritorious.
Yes, mandatory.
Those which are meritorious will actually be carried forward. Those which are not meritorious, here's the other side of it. If someone makes a claim or wants to make a claim that is not meritorious, it's our duty to explain to that person clearly why they can or should not make that claim, so that that person at least walks away understanding to what extent their right has or has not been respected. Because that's the other side of legal authority. People have to be willing to accept the result. And that's why I say this question has to be decided by our courts so that people on both sides of the fence can eventually comply in whatever way they deem best.
All right. Just not to just tie this up, but these are some questions. Again, similar cases against government COVID regulations have been launched across the globe. Has your legal team and the benefit of reviewing cases from other jurisdictions? And if so, do you believe those cases support the client's position?
Yes, we have reviewed cases. Use the way that the coronavirus has affected other nations as a benchmark for how we should deal with it. For instance, you can't point to the situation in India and then say, oh, well, and cross a logical chasm and say, well, that's why Bermuda has to impose a 14-day quarantine. We've dealt with the situation differently. I mean, let me be clear. I'm very grateful to be living in Bermuda. And I'm very grateful for the fact that our government has the resources to have a testing regime, which is bar none, to have a contract tracing mechanism, which is excellent, to have a vaccination program, which is right there in the top 10 countries in the world, and to also have available treatments, which have allowed them to have a very good success rate in saving back mortality. I'm grateful to be living in countries that have this, but the fact that we have those mechanisms, the fact that we are so well prepared, is one of the reasons that we question whether or not the measures being imposed are absolutely necessary in Bermuda.
That's the issue.
Yes.
That is.
And I suppose, Chubb, we could go on ad nauseum about the various questions, and I think that underscores the importance of this particular case. But there was, before we go, I've received a question that I'd actually like Charles to answer. I think it's particularly a valid one, and one that a lot of people will have, and they'll say, well, listen, why are we compromising this quasi argument and saying that we're still in an emergency? The question reads, why compromise at all if there's actually no emergency? If there's no emergency, there is no need for compromise. And that individual goes on to say that if there's a legal challenge based on compromise, which I think they're categorizing this position as, will that negate any future challenge to say that there's no emergency in the future?
Or one of the questions maybe asks is I'm not, this is a general question right now, like what states an emergency? You know what I mean? Because projected numbers, which the clients may not be. Looks like we've lost that. I'm going to get back into some of this music right now, and we're going to reshift this. All my people listening, all those who tune in, going to get back into it just a bit right now, my people. Keep it locked. Don't go nowhere. We're going to continue this discussion.
All right. Yes, Kenta. Kenta says that only law that matters. Do not violate another. That is the principle of common law. See, this is hence this is. Let me bring my thing up. Bring this. We don't need to see that anymore. Let me bring that rebroadcast, and we pop back into there when they come back on. If they come back on. But you see the crux of the matter, and Cantor's going right into it, right? What we stem from natural law, I would like to believe that what we are attempting to reach into the realms of our humanity, deeper than this current paradigm and matrix we find ourselves in, right? Tapping in further, going back or more within, however you want to put a direction to it. And get solutions that are going to bring back balance. And this only you see from brother Charles's statement. You know what I mean? He got vaccinated. He supports the system. He believes overall that we're the best prepared in the world. So he overall is behind governments position, which is his, his choice, his freedom, and his reasoning was valid enough. But if he was doing it in here, or any of these other, the frontline doctors, or any of the World Freedom Alliance type positioning, based on a medical standpoint, then you see where that whole you see what I mean? That whole piece, it's not valid because what it stands on is not valid. So his reasoning is valid in the context of the bubble that's created by saying PCR tests lead to positive cases are going up, so we need to lock down type measures. You see what I'm saying? Those things, then you get into the space. Okay, there's increase in numbers. There's an epidemic. Now we need to implement these measures. You see what I mean? And then you're in that bubble. You're in that space of discussing measures now. But from the beginning, what you did was circumvent the science. And that's our issue. That's what we bring to the table here. This, in our investigative reporting and you know what I mean, looking for solutions that are going to bring about balance. That's the approach we take. The short circuit that whole back and forth mental piece. You see what I'm saying? Charles, a brilliant guy, but his within that paradigm. He's discussing within that paradigm because it benefits him. And mostly this case has come up for him because of his client. He said he had an issue with his child, but would he have challenged them outside of that? He can't, because his only bar. You see what I mean? Even though he represents, people that are being persecuted by the legal system. You know what I mean? He's a criminal or he's a defender, a defensive lawyer, right? Are they back?
On the line, I've got Charles Richardson,
Okay,
JP, and of course Aaron Hill representing this morning, representing the people with questions. And now, if we did get a little bit of cut off right now, just then.
Right.
If we can pick up to where we were just speaking about.
Yeah, I think Aaron posed the question that, why are we conceding that we're in the midst of a public health emergency?
Yes.
Well, I don't want to get bogged down in terminology, but the word emergency actually isn't a term of art, and it probably actually isn't the term by which this will be governed. The question will be whether or not there is a credible public health threat. And I think we all have to concede
That's the
that
question.
there is a credible public health threat.
No, there's
but
not.
the pivotal
Okay.
question is,
And that's where his
how
issue is.
acute and how devastating or potentially devastating is that threat to a place like Bermuda, which has the resources that we have? And that's the finely balanced question that has to be asked and answered.
Yes.
And just to expand on that, Chubb, the point, because I don't want people to obfuscate the issues here, because the reality when we talk about a challenge like this, the burden of proving these things rests on the government. It's not a matter of us conceding whether there's an emergency. The government will have to establish by way of fact and evidence that, hey, this is required for X, Y, and Z
That's
reasons.
interesting.
Okay.
So at no stage should it be misunderstood that there's a concession that, hey, look, we accept these things as being the case. We need the clarity and the burden of proving that these things, that your fundamental rights can be infringed, lies on the government and the government alone.
So no one else could make that decision but the government, is what you're saying?
No, the court.
Well,
The courts.
I don't think that it's about a decision. It's about them having to prove. Yes, we're in an emergency. Okay, why do you say that? Prove that by way of medical evidence. So there will be evidence required from medical experts to establish those things. The question,
and I think that is fundamentally the discussion that is going to be healthy for everyone. Those are the questions that people, is this really necessary? Is this really an emergency? Well, here you have it. This is the forum in which you can have, in a very detailed and very measured way, a discussion about all of those factors. You will have input from all of the medical professionals on both sides, those who say yay, those who say nay.
Which has that's what forgive me, but that's what I feel has to be done. And
Exactly.
we need facts from both sides. We need to come
Well,
to a
let
common
me
ground.
put it to you this way.
That's
Charles.
the
Let me put it this
piece.
way. Us, it has been said, there's a quote, that very few political questions that trouble a society do not eventually end up being resolved as legal questions. And that's what's happening here. This is a very important issue for everybody. So we have to have the discussion, but we can't have the discussion in the playground. We can't have the discussion in the bar. We can't have the discussion in the barbershop. We can't have the discussion on social media and reach a proper resolution. The only forum in which you're going to be able to properly ventilate the issues, as I've said over and over again, and to really analyze them and have a real scrutiny of those issues is in the form of something forensic like a court meeting.
It has to happen.
Yeah, I think it has to. I think it's in the public interest that the discussion takes place.
I want to.
And do they get to
at
call
this time?
Witnesses
Thank
themselves,
those
their
who have
medical
submitted
side?
questions respectfully. I mean, because at the end of the day, that's what we're pushing for on this side of things, is just the respect and all. Yeah, but for those who need to know, and this is another thing. I mean,
I do have one further question I need to answer. One of you was asked. Sorry, that's, I guess, just the litigator in me. I do remember there was one question that wasn't asked.
that one stuck out to you.
Yeah, it stuck out to me, and it was the question about whether or not there have been cases in other jurisdictions with respect to the COVID regulations and how other courts have ruled. But what's been really interesting is that initially, courts were very astute to apply historic case law based on the way pandemics have been dealt with 50, 60, 70, even longer. One case that's very pivotal was decided in 1905. But very recently, courts, including the United States Supreme Court, have been recognizing that at the times of those rulings and of the early COVID rulings, the disease had been with us for a short period of time.
Yes.
And that now as we go into 2021, and we actually face the prospect of maybe entering a third calendar year of living in this pandemic shadow, the rationales that were applied historically have expired according to their own terms. This is a living, breathing animal, the Constitution, and the question constantly has to be asked. In our present circumstance, are we going too far? The limitations have to be constantly scrutinized. It's hard work, but it has to be done if you're going to take rights seriously. Because even if you say your Constitution can take a holiday during the pandemic, that holiday can't become a sabbatical. It has to stop somewhere.
It has to. It has to. A question. There was actually a question from this, as far as the private sector, and we're talking about human rights and things like that. Can the private sector, I want to say, I don't like to use the word discriminate, but it's going to be used. Can they discriminate against those who haven't taken the vaccine?
Well, that's a question that may arise at some point. But here's the pivotal thing, I think, that troubles most people's minds.
No, they can't.
A conventional vaccine, as understood, based on the science that I've been exposed to, would actually prevent you from contracting and transmitting an illness. Well, the scientists openly
private
recognize
business
that
can do what they like.
What this
It's not discrimination.
So can it be labeled a vaccine if that's the case?
Well, it has been labeled a vaccine, an emergency vaccine. But as I said, let's not get caught up in labels.
Labels.
Those are the
That's
types
important.
of discussions a court is going to want to have. Well, if you say the vaccine prevents transmission, let's see the science, and then we know, and that, and here we go. The discussion's off and running.
Okay.
That is, because like you did mention this, Charles. You said it, and I'm happy that you did say it, because, then I can't, lash anyone who's been discussing it, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm a human being. I'm living in this time too. We've all discussed it. Like you said, it's not something that's gonna be settled in the barbershop. It's not something that's in the hair salon. It's not something going to be
not settled, but discussed in
and we're all speaking about it. It has to be taken. These matters have to be taken. But the question I have right now is why has it taken so long?
Why is it taking so long for what?
So long for it to get to this level. Where is it because of the new rules that are regulations that are being implemented? Is that because people are just like they're just tired of it, or
I think it's been sort of a slow vice grip effect, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Over time, I mean, the restrictions came, and the pressure was palpable, but it was endurable. And over time itself builds pressure.
Give thanks, Jeremiah.
I know you've heard the old reggae expression, pressure busts pipes. So,
come on now.
see what I'm saying? So slowly but surely, over time itself has played a part.
Yes.
And then you have more and more restrictions being added. Those restrictions were lessened. People got back into their groove. Then they were added again. This has the effect of sort of like a granny's pressure cooker. So people are now sitting inside, they're thinking to themselves, now hold on a minute. Is this really okay? Can they really do this to me for this long? And they want an answer, and that's what this is all about. It's about a grassroots set of people who just want to ask the question, can this really be done? Is it justifiable? Have they gone too far? And the last thing I would like to say on this is, one thing I have noticed is that debate about this topic has become very bitter in our community.
Very.
There are people who have actually torpedoed friendships over this.
Family,
and they
even.
they don't even realize they've done it, because there's only so many times you can call somebody a lab rat, an experimental guinea pig, a sheep that's just drinking the cootie. There's only so many times you can say that to a quote-unquote friend before that friend starts to question, hey, I'm wondering if Chubb's really my boy or not,
What, I mean, and that's just one side of it. That's you saying the other side, and there's the other side as well. Like you said, the friendship's been torpedoed, families are split down the middle, and the question...
It's interesting the side he chose.
I ain't trying to sound no quarter, but is it really worth it? Like, is it really worth it? Everyone's entitled to their opinions, but at this time, it's like there's opinions are like, whew, this is turning into a war.
If I want anybody to take anything away from this that is non-legal, it's this. Any way you slice it, we are all in the same boat right now.
Yes.
And that's our problem.
I don't see why my paddle should be longer than a person who's not vaccinated paddle. And I don't see why
we're going to build that off.
Or they should be putting in more or less effort.
So we ain't that same boat.
It's got to float and it's got to move.
It has to.
So one way or the other, after COVID, I'd like to have my friendships, and I hope that everybody else would take the same approach when you're having debates with your friends about this. These are all very personal decisions, man.
They are personal decisions.
And there's friendship after COVID. So I'd like to have my friends after COVID.
Friendship before and after.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. People representing the Compass Law Chambers this morning, Aaron Hill, Sir Charles Richardson. I have to send a big thank you to both of you gentlemen this morning, because this conversation, I'm not going to lie to anybody, this conversation needed to be had. It needed to be had. Reason I'm saying this is we hear so much from one side of things. We are for so much one side of things as far as panels and different discussions and things like that.
Exactly, Toy.
This side.
We're building our arc.
I can say that I'm actually grateful that you've shared with the nation and all our international listeners that you have been vaccinated, and you are showing the empathy to those who haven't or refuse to, or for whatever reason they can't get this vaccine. Thank you.
No problem, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, Chubb, and later today, as we discussed earlier, we'll be circulating a link to a crowd justice account which those who want to support in having this important constitutional issue aired out and fully ventilated, they can do so. In closing, I guess I just want to kind of reiterate the first principle thing is that the constitutional rights are guaranteed. Yes, the government can suspend them, but where they do, the burden of proving why and how long and to what extent they infringe upon them rests on the government alone. And so the question of emergency, whether or not we're in emergency, we need not absorb that burden. That resides with the government to establish, and it's only once they've established that, if and when, that the rebuttal by way of evidence would come in. But again, lawyers, you can get 12 lawyers in a room, and you'll get
Nobody's
12
gonna
different
agree.
opinions.
Absolutely.
And we've just got to get in the room.
I mean, and another thing, you know, that the community and the public have seen is that we've had some events here. We've had events here. Now, when we're talking about that, I mean, I'm not trying to, you know, open up wound, but
I know where you're going. I know exactly where you're going. Go to old mom and pop sitting on the wall at the bus stop. But how they gonna law? That's a good one. And I can't have this.
Yes.
I know. Yeah. Well, that's.
I mean, talking about, I'm getting to the word of emergency again. Like, you know what I mean? It's such
But
an
those are the
emergency.
types of questions that can only be properly answered in a discussion like this, which takes place inside a court,
Inside
where everybody has to essentially present their information to a judge so that
Yes.
he can weigh it
Yes.
and reach a decision.
These are the discussions. These are the times we live for right now. I want to send a big thank you for all of those who have sent their questions. You know, I'm not going to be like other outlets and ask the same question over and over. You know what I mean? Because, you know, so many people have the same concerns. So at this time, the questions that were asked, you gentlemen have answered them at a level, and I'm pretty sure that my listener audience right now at this time, they're appreciative of them as well, because you've allowed some clarity to be brought forth. Because all this time, it felt like a certain voice in the island wasn't being heard or hadn't been heard. And this time around, you gentlemen have clarified, and I want to send you guys a big thank you.
Not sure what it's talking about.
I
there.
wanna send your
Chubb,
You're welcome,
finally,
man.
just one last comment I wanted to look at, and it's absolutely non-legal, and it's an opportunity for us as a jurisdiction.
Yeah.
We have a real key issue where we have personal views on things, we have
Absolutely.
political views on things,
Yes.
and they contradict, and it's become highly sensitive. But I think when you look at the fact that the two counsel who are going to be leading this, Dr. Griffiths and Mr. Richardson, who have themselves been vaccinated, yet still will profusely argue before the court that those who choose to have the right not to be vaccinated or not to be subject to certain regulations because they have chosen not to be vaccinated, that's still, it's a personal opinion, but yet still everyone is entitled to exercise their fundamental right. And I think that's what Mr. Richardson and Mr. Griffiths are going to demonstrate throughout this. And it's an opportunity for us as a community to realize, you know what, we can disagree and still be okay.
Because disagree and still be functional, yes.
Exactly. We've got to get to that point in our society, because, as Charles said, this has become an issue that has separated households,
Yes.
quite literally.
You got husbands sleeping on couches right now. You got,
That's a big one, Jay. That's a big one.
They got wives cooking enough food for just one. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Look, but you're joking, but
It's
that's
true.
real, you know.
It's real. It is real. It is real. It's real. And we can't have that. We can't have that, because, like you said, Charles, after the pandemic, you still got to live.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's essentially what I would. Let's have a discussion about this and not an argument.
All right. I like that. Let's have a discussion. People, if you're listening right now, let's have the discussion, not an argument. Because in an argument, no one sees the other's point of view. That's a fact.
Exactly.
That's a fact. Representing the Compass, our Lord Chambers this morning, Mr. Aaron Hill, Mr. Charles Richardson, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. Thank you
Cool, man.
again. I can't thank you enough this morning for the clarity that this is provided this morning. And to your clients and to all those who submitted questions, I say a big thank you as well. Thank you, and much gratitude is being shown towards you, gentlemen.
All right. Thanks a lot. Man. Cool.
Yes.
Take care.
Have a good day, everybody.
You too. Now, people, let me show you something about vibes this morning. You see how we set it on this Throwback Thursday at a time of 2020.
All right. Let's pull up out of that. Now we want to jump right into the conversation. Do you want to jump right into conversation? I'm going to go back and do some research. And because it's definitely some salient points that we could discuss. Essentially that issue of us both being in the same boat. Let's go back over the comments. Yes, for real. Okay, yeah. I'll go back over the comments that we had posted so far during this. Right, so Chase says, Why do people keep running from this agenda? Running this agenda, vaccinated versus non-vaccinated. The division, that pushing that division concept the whole way through. More divided we are, the easier we are to conquer, to oppress, to keep in our role, keep in our positions, right? So they're gonna run that. That they know that works, right? So basically, the government saying if you non-vaccinated, you have to pay to be locked up. That is exactly what they're saying. We have covered it, right? Only law that matters. We talked about this one was do not violate others. Natural law, common law. You know what I mean? Che goes on. You can't fight the system when you're in it, right? You got twisted. Oh, we got some new comments. Let me get. Yeah, Cindy says, hate him or love him. You have to respect Charles. Yeah, definitely. Never hate him. Never hate him. But he might get under your skin a little bit, some things, but his ability is eloquent. He painted his position neutrally. Not that he didn't put I didn't feel any spin in it and saying, look, I got vaccinated and I feel a certain pressure from my friends and things. And it was almost a plea. Look, guys, ease me up. I took it, and I'm under a lot of pressure. My brethren are not accepting me in my community anymore. So big up for coming out and stating it like that and putting your agenda on the table. Well, I can't say your agenda, your interest, what you bring as a background to the table, putting it out there for transparency's sake from the beginning. Big up for that, Charles. Definite respect for that. Canterbury says, we could be free from all this in seconds. We know not our power yet. It's a fairy tale to most. Yeah, so it's just a story, right? Yet it's simply our perceptions that have been attacked. Life only exists in this realm for most. Your parents helped them to deceive you because they were deceived. Yes. Had you joined the assembly line of which you are formed. This is a big one. That's a big one. We're in a factory. Some of us are working in the factory. You know what I mean? Promoting the same blindness. Yeah. The ways of the world are forced on our children through our first love. Yes. Lest we get it right now. Yeah, and that's what this is about. This movement, that's what this is. We got to get this right and get it right this time around. And there ain't no takebacks after this one. This is the final one. It's been prophesied. It's came down. You know what I mean? Many different texts. He said, Canterbury finishes with, we can save the next generation from this lie. They will surely usher in I think he much the future, or not sure that comment got cut off. You reach the limit of what you can put in a Facebook. Wow, that can show up on my screen. So if you push that, I could pull up the Facebook and get into that. But yeah, that definitely. Hey, Cantor, you're on point as far as I'm concerned. You're on point. You've been on point. And the reason why we got this type of a community and this type of a group of critical thinkers asking deeper questions. You can see Charles, his on here on my camera. Okay. That he would have to take the stance of being neutral, and he presented his argument neutrally, and obviously doing his job well and his space. Why am I blinking? My internet blinking. My signal looks good. Yeah. Okay, I'm back. Looks like I'm back strong. I'm not sure if it didn't come through clearly to you guys. Anyway, so what I was saying is that he's definitely demonstrated his competence in being in the job that he's doing. His ability to express that statement. And I think Aaron as well, definitely two of our exemplary intellectuals in a lot of regards. Aaron Hill coming into his own. I think he was a good, I wouldn't say foil, but a good supporting voice in what was being expressed by Charles overall. That to represent that client, but also bring this to the table, this conversation to the table in a forum where some sort of resolutions can be sought. I don't think it'll resolve our issues, right? As Kanta says, right? Right? We could all be free from this in seconds if we knew our power, right? If we recognized our power. But we're due to, we're going over the different circumstances that leads us into this place we find ourselves, where we're not accepting that, just as a group coming together and saying, yeah, we had enough. So what we're going to do, let's talk about some solutions. And we can come back, and definitely come back again at 7 p.m. and lay out some of these legal arguments in a framework. And also consider that site that or that tool Aaron spoke about, okay. There's this tool that Aaron spoke about that was in regards to crowd judging. What did he call it? Crowd. I forget the last time. Anybody you remember? You push up in the comments the title of it so we could look out for it. And we could go to I'm sure they got a website. And some of you, I'm sure, are following, and it'll be in WhatsApp and how the social media spread it, Twitter and all of that. It'll be out eventually. But it was crowd something, right? The tool that they're gonna introduce that'll have this, so they can gather this the diverse perspectives. That's what I he didn't explain it completely. Just put the title out there, and that said that we're gonna use this to galvanize the different perspectives. So let's take a look at that and evaluate that when that comes out, and do some research into that, and then I'm gonna compile the different positions I think that are relevant to a degree, and I'll see if we can get on. Hopefully we have this evening. We should have Brother Frankie Bey, Moorish, representing Moorish Institute, and bringing his perspective, definitely, of nationhood first. Once you define your nationhood, then all of these questions, you can categorize them correctly, you know what I mean? This constitution is not our constitution in that light, you know what I mean? We shouldn't be stuck in that argument, because this system was not created for us. Once we recognize that and move together as a unit, as a group, and establish our own systems, our own social constructs, our own legal apparatus, right? We can pull free from that and send this arc sailing. Cantor says, Charles as well as Aaron, much respect, yeah man, but there is no solution in the stance. To be a lawyer is to be a prisoner and an exploiter of law. They are to go as far as their chain. I love that. Yeah, lyricist, Cantor's got pure dub stuck up in there. You've been listening to a lot of Vaughan Benjamin. I think that Vaughan Benjamin's got in your psyche. Hey, we're gonna do a Vaughan Benjamin week coming up, definitely. Midnight and Aki Baka, the levels that brother was on, I think he surpassed Bob in his wisdom, and Tush and these guys. He poured it all together. That is the next philosopher. But anyway, Cantor, that you tap right into the Cantor. You know what I mean? Enough respect to them brothers and the intellectual prowess that they demonstrate. You know what I mean? The ability to put together arguments and statements. It's very few in the island that could have posed their statements so eloquently and not felt biased, that the presentation was biased, right? But they're limited in the fact that they're already on one side of it. They already conceded that this only can be brought up in this type of accord and under these constitutional barriers. Yeah, it's no real resolution in that, but let's evaluate it. Sophia says, can you also get Charles on dCyfa and ask him questions? Yeah. We can reach out and pose some questions to one field or the other, whether it's tonight. So you want to try to reach out to some people in the law fraternity and have them at 7 p.m. Okay, I'll make an effort, much as effort as I can, and get our team on board, and let's see if we can get them in for a few minutes and pose our questions to them in that light. But we already know that the bound to the, you know what I mean? He is a part of the bar. I mean, he's on the bar. He's bound to a certain level of arguments, certain parameters around his arguments that he could present, obviously, and in his professional space, he has to represent that arena for the most part. Whereas I think we're considering we have on the table, essentially making them null and void. You know what I mean? They will be irrelevant in a paradigm that I think we're looking to construct. But let's bring them into space. So I'll make an effort and see if we can get some bodies from the legal fraternity involved in the conversation this evening. All right. Give thanks, Sophia, for that suggestion. Chase says, in that case, we in the same chance. There's only so much we can do in the system that we're trying to live in. Yes, that's the problem. That's the problem. And if you go back to Cantor's earlier statement, right, we could be free from all this in seconds. Like at the moment, we could be free mentally, spiritually, to just free ourselves from it and then make decisions accordingly, right? Sophia comes back. Can you also try to get... No, sorry, there was a lower one. We know his binding, but there is still room for him to grow as he is human. Yes, definitely, always. We're all growing. We're all in our stage of evolution and development, and never consider the door shut for anybody. Dr. Weldon, what's that guy name? Dr. Arswell, I forget his name now. From the presentation last week that the immunologist did a PhD in immunology at Oxford. All of it, we embrace, and this is about humanity. But if you've determined that you're gonna stay on that shore, you know what I mean, and defend that system, then that's your choice, and we leave you there. You know what I mean? It's always freedom. Any system of natural law and common law, you have your choice. I can't infringe on your rights, but you definitely can infringe on my rights of liberty. You know what I mean? And that's really, we've got to define that, and we've got to do that as a unit. This is it. Time to divorce this lie. Yes, let's build up these structures. And just in that light, I'll continue the rest of the... As you guys post comments, I'll discuss it. But we are developing this is a learning platform. This is part of it, to reach families and reach you in your homes. dCyfa, the intention is to increase this critical thinking skill set, how to develop logical arguments, how to detect logical fallacies in arguments, right? Statements that don't follow through and support the overall claim, right, being made, and detect that and be able to push that to the side so we can effectively get down towards truth or at least the direction, navigate this arc to where we need to go, right? Because we know we're coming out of this, but where we got to go with it and navigate that, right? And we know we're on course because we're tapping into the source. But we'll open and consider all options. Anybody that's doing the tapping into the source, come to the equation. If you're not even tapping into the source and it's just going off your own intuition and intellect, come to the equation and consider it and put it to the table. You know what I mean? There's many ways to conceive of what reality is. You know what I mean? That's why we have diversity. Why the Creator, allowed for this. Different perspectives. I'm standing right here, you're standing right there. We can't see the same thing. You know what I mean? You're going to see it from a different angle. And yet, so your angle is a part of the story. And so we should hear all of it. We should hear all of it and consider all of it. But we should have a mechanism in place to be able to say, yeah, that's not viable. That is not productive reasoning. That reasoning is only going to lead you towards, you know what I mean? And sometimes you got to step above the situation, below the situation, come from different angles. So that's what this is about. So dCyfa is reaching you in your homes and building this critical thinking process. But we're also building the other component, the Paulu Heritage Institute for Youth Activism. Let me bring that up. Let me take my camera down and bring this up. This component, right? I'm going to be, well, that's not exactly just so you see, Paulu Heritage Institute for Youth Activism, changing the logo up a bit as it grows. But the concept is developing our own solutions and allowing young people to develop their own solutions. So it's an educational option or options for your young people, and it'll be done in a modular basis, and you can sign up. We'll discuss the sign up procedure and things after I've got it all set up. But there's a space you can go to sign up, let your child, and discussions with you and your children. There'll be a primary school level, you know what I mean, up to that 9, 10, 11-year age, and then 11 to 14, that middle school age is one we will specifically be focusing in on, and targeting, and building activities and skills so that they can build what are called micro credentials, these little and portfolios. All of this will be compiled and together in a nice way so that our young people can navigate their own futures, build their own curriculums individually, you know what I mean, and utilize the resources that we have here in the community. So stay tuned for that. We're building that out. So that's an educational component we will be looking to. We will be satisfying through this overall platform that we're building, this community that we're formulating and making use of the resources around us. But we also, and it'll encompass this financial aspect also that Frenchie is promoting and delivering to us. She had another meeting last night. Unfortunately, I wasn't there. Sure was at a high level again. I had a conflict last night. But same way, there's financial solutions of Susu economics and group economics and gifting each other. You know what I mean? This periodic gifting to each other so that we're spreading the economy or resources between us, spreading resources, trade and bartering. You know what I mean? As our gardens start to flourish and we've got, access to this, access to that, we'll have this marketplace to exchange resources and services amongst us in this community. So all of these things are taking place and being structured. Oh yes, Thursday. My goodness. Yes, that's it. Might be at Frenchie. Presentations tonight. I see my days all blended together with this whole process. Yes. I was upset, because I thought I missed your presentation last night because I was in something else. Okay, so we'll be tuning in tonight. So tonight, let me put your email up. Make sure. Let's get Sophia's up again. You see Sophia's up. You can reach out to Sophia. Sophia's got an event going on this weekend. If Sophia, you can put yours in the comments again also. And there's Sophia's email. If she's still in this space, she will be running an event this weekend that you can sign up for this Sunday for women. And I'm in the wrong space. No, I'm not. I'm looking for your email. Right. And then this is French's email. Send that 8:15, right? Yes. And there's the email. Sign up through the Dream Factory 642 at gmail.com. French's, any space you want to speak, let's bring Frenchie in and give a intro to the solutions that she's presenting. Oh,
I am back.
Back, yes.
Echo cancel.
Yes, Echo. Goodness. Bless your heart.
Yeah. So tonight I'll be explaining the flow of wealth that we have been establishing for a few months now. And I'm going to bring a different approach because I've watched the movie Thrive and I've gained some knowledge in the last week. So I'm going to share a few things around what banks are actually doing with our money and bring some light to that so that we can have some clarity as to what we want to do with our funds. So not only am I going to explain the flow and the structure it has, but I'm also going to bring some light to some pretty concerning facts that I came across that maybe some of us might know, but I share the knowledge that I always gather along the way.
Okay. Yeah, it's that sharing knowledge. And this system is flexible enough. This type of, when we use technology appropriately, right? We can adjust to the agenda that as it develops, right? And build. So give thanks for your ability to grow your program and offer it to us.
Yes, give thanks to you guys because I couldn't do it on my own. This is completely a team effort, a collaboration effort, and we are just, uniting as beings that are like-minded, and that have the same mentality around how this world should function. We are now at the stage where we see the flaws and we are not satisfied. We know that we deserve more, and we are just in the action phase right now. So this is a clear action that you can take to reclaim your power of your financial energy.
Give thanks, which is a resource, and channeling those resources. So we had I'm sorry, I took it down. I meant to emphasize it. The email is the run across the bottom of the screen. Definitely copy that down. Get registered. Tune in 8:15 sharp. In the same light, Sophia has, she says she's running the Conscious Breath Bermuda Wise Woman and Man. Yeah, sorry. And men. And men are invited to participate in this doula training because you have male doulas also in that supportive effort. Even though my experience was the man in another room, right? Hitting the conga and playing the drums. She said it is at Sunday, May 9th, 11 to 3 p.m. Send her a message at sophiacannoner@gmail.com. Give thanks, Sophia, for that contribution to our community, this wisdom of motherhood and breathing. And, we can't talk about the future if we're not providing a non-traumatic or natural environment for our children to be brought into this world through, right? What are we doing if we're not doing that? That is the bare minimum. So let's get that out of the way. So we got solutions coming on the table. How do we bring our children into the world? How do we raise them up with principles and values? That's what we're going to be reestablishing through this educational, which in the purest sense of it is to bring the genius out of your children, bring their wisdom to the forefront through this system that we're developed and going to be offering. Yes, Sophia says, yes, men need to learn how to sit in another room and play drums. Yes, exactly. That's a big piece. Yeah, get that heartbeat rhythm running and supporting, chanting, sending that energy, that strength to support the women. You know what I mean? In that process, bringing forth our futures. So in order this light, let's stay working behind the scenes in Telegram. You should all know how to join Telegram. If you haven't, let me post that real quick. The Telegram, the link for the general dCyfa link is there. Get involved in Telegram. Get involved. We got a few other groups popping off. These different topics which lead into the show here. So that because the brain don't really stop, right? We can put it on pause for a little bit through our meditation, but you're always thinking, you're always coming up with thoughts and receiving intuition and whatnot. Let's channel that whenever it's necessary, and you can do that in Telegram. Whatever you're having, some insight, some thoughts, some clairvoyance comes to you, push it in the dCyfa groups, and let's build up this knowledge sharing tool. Let's use it correctly so that we're solving our problems, right? We got the formula, right? I and I, each one reach one. I got some wisdom on this I and I concept. Again, there's so many levels to these principles. But the philosopher, I'm gonna call him the philosopher, the Rasta philosopher, poet, singer, scientist, metaphysicist, Vaughan Benjamin, Aki Becker, that last night was in a serious meditation on some of the levels he brings forth. But anyway, the concept, I and I, right? Each one reach one. We're in this together, right? And once we follow through with this recipe, this formula here, right? The struggle's done. We're finished. We can claim our victory and move forward. You know what I mean? With confidence, not doubting, not in that doubting on the fence state. We got to come out of that. You consider it. You consider the options on the table, then you choose a path and you move with 100% confidence. Some people call it faith. I don't stress that faith reasoning. Different people explain it in different ways, and different cultures explain it in different ways. I think you should move forward in knowledge. Move with wisdom. Yes, Cantor says midnight. How I carry you on big tune. All right, you're gonna run that. Definitely pull that up to clear us out because we're getting on the 11th. So it ended up being a 2-hour show regardless. And let's see if I can find that rhythm. I had some other dub to run, but let's definitely run that selection. And let's get some more solutions to the table, and let's support each other. Let's tune in to each other's channels. We also have the naturally COVID immune Bermuda page. Tap in there. They got Mal addressed, and I don't know if she's in any space right now. Mal's had I don't know if Sophia, you can talk about it. I mean, push it up also. That naturally COVID or naturally immune COVID Bermuda or naturally COVID immune Bermuda. I can't remember which way. NCIB, NICB, NCIB sounds better, I think. It sounds closer. Not trying to change the name. And they are doing a presentation or a conference webinar on natural immunity coming soon. So tune in. Oh yes, just got it here. Natural COVID immunity Bermuda. Sorry. We got a little tongue tied there. And
sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. Were you finished?
Finish it. No. Yeah, I finished. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say, I'm having this thought right now that, as things are progressing, it's going to be more and more information in our favor, and it's going to be more and more movements and actions. And I know that personally, like, I feel passionate about all of what is happening. However, it is impossible for one to get involved 100% in everything. So I just want to bring that to people's awareness that as things are progressing and happening, you have to look at the big picture and see where you personally resonate the most. And then you choose to spend your energy in that area, because I know that we want to contribute and we want to help, and it's something huge happening right now. But the best way that you can help is by putting your focus on 1 or 2 or 3 things at a time, like I'm a person, like I struggle with that. I want to get involved in too many things, and then I end up not doing as good of a job as I could have done. I'm not saying that I'm not doing a good job, but like inside of myself, I know that I could have done better if I would have just focused my energy a little bit more on one thing at a time and bring it to fruition and finish. So personally, I choose to put my focus on abundance right now. And I say abundance is not just financial abundance, right? But financial is a piece. But this is what my focus is on. Doesn't mean that I don't have interest in other things. It's just that, this is where I find my sweet spot, where I feel like I can make a difference. However, I'm just going to be supporting, and cheering on for everybody that's doing their job. So as you're looking at the situation, take time to meditate on what piece is resonating with you. Where do you feel like you can add the most value, so that you don't scatter your energy, so that we can make the biggest impact possible.
That's a big piece. That's got a piece. That imagery, you know what I mean? Having that tunnel vision for the moment to deal with and build those pieces up. Staying focused on your goal. Give thanks for that insight. And as you reflect on what you're going, you know what I mean? Your progress, your developing system that you're working on. Yes. Thanks for sharing with us. And being so open, so frank about that. That's what I definitely appreciate about everything you bring. You speak right from the heart. You feel it.
Yeah.
I mentioned it to you earlier. I could feel it in your voice that you're channeling your energies towards something, and you can feel the directness, the ways you present things. Give thanks for sharing that and being a part of this with us. You know what I mean? Appreciate you.
I appreciate everybody, and I appreciate you for, again, I say it a lot, but the platform. It was a big deal when I found out about dCyfa. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, you mean there's more people like me? Okay, here we go. And now I started just like, pouring into this, and I just, I feel highly inspired. And the type of people that are starting to gravitate around this movement is just such a beautiful thing to witness. So I just want to encourage everybody and say to everybody that they do have a role to play, as small as it may be. It does not matter. the important part is that you are pushing in this direction in your own personal and unique way.
Yeah, exactly. Give thanks. So in that, if you have any other parting words, I'm gonna run some tune. I'm gonna run that track, close out, and we'll be back at 7 p.m. So let me put on this banner. You have any other closing words? You're done, French? That's
No. I'm good. I'm just, that's the last piece I wanted to share with people. And are we meeting at 7 tonight?
Yes, I'm definitely gonna come back at 7 p.m. I'm going to try to get some members from the legal fraternity to at least call in and give some commentary, or if it's not just in the Facebook commentary, somehow get some participation from one or two members of the legal fraternity to get some insight into how different avenues to pursue this situation and bring the light to the forefront. You know what I mean?
Moorish is gonna be your co-host tonight.
Yes, Moorish should be available evenings. So this 7 p.m. we'll get Moorish in and see if we can get brother that was on Monday, Chief Tonic. If we get Chief Tonic that conversation, OG. So let's see if we can get a nice diverse panel this evening and have an interesting reason. I'm gonna work in the background. I got a few things to do today. Got this meeting, a sister coming in to assist with putting the final pieces to the unschooling concept we're working in.
Yeah.
And got another web conference I'm got to for this Net Academy building. Yeah, so enough going on today, but you have to push on.
Yes.
Sophia sending her love. So give thanks, Frenchie. Give thanks for being here and supporting us this morning. And bless up.
Thanks to you.
Yes, give thanks. So I'm gonna run this tune and take off the echo and get into this big tune. Bless up for everybody that was tuned in since this morning. Listen to the radio program with us. We're gonna run this Midnight from the Anglade album, right? How I Carry On. Listen to it.
It's not just exaltation of an ancient monarchy. It's inscrutable word. Tell the world of them go ask and see. Love is the overall. Mobilized to geometric, crystalline geometry. Other in the car. Pick up the youth from school, run the one. Make sure say that things in the order, you from wall to wall. Every day pretty take meditation for efficiency program. How I and I carry on. 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 Similar needs and situation in houses out of
Bless up, Keish. Bless up, Keish. Good to know that you're part of this. You know I love you like life.
Guiding instruction keep them on warm. Sometimes domestic dispute get settled in a balance line across. Escalating the tension to mention couldn't simple laugh it off. Take people effort to survive and do decent for the world serious. All on the way of the flesh, yes, to cosmic dust. Love and attention and then it is a plus. How I and I carry on. 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 Every household you have them provide that.
Yeah, stay tuned. I'm definitely gonna give more information coming up. Definitely more information. Yeah. Unschooling. Let's get our children. Bring the best out of them. Daddy teachers, you know. I learned so much from my children, boy.
As brutality right now are from out any.
They are not empty vessels. They do not come to us empty. They got ideas and wisdom and creativity. Let it out. Let it shine.
Showing love in the struggle when it's difficult to do it. As between pass the spark. As human close interaction, work and pray every new hope at dawn. Touch base with some people, it's relations make it go on. Staple food like the rice and the corn. Sometimes the situation I have no such feels are important. People just have to go carry on. And it's how I and I carry on. 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 I'll go in the car. How I and I carry on. It's not just exaltation of an ancient monarchy. It's inscrutable word, tell the whole of them go ask and see. Love is in the overall. Mobilized to geometry, crystalline geometry. I got in the car.
Run this accountable again. Listen to the lyrics. They say it's Ginger coming forward.
We the people gonna hold the government accountable. Tell the Queen's Council accountable. We the people gonna hold the pharmaceutical companies accountable. Mr. Constable accountable. We the people going hold the world leaders and scientists accountable. Tell the Queen's Council accountable. With them rush vaccine, poison vaccine, them no care if it hurt you. What that mean accountable? Tell the constable. Yeah. Story come to boom. Control population stunt. The leaders them not be up front. Bill Gates safe in a bunk. Yeah. Over 1 million and not people die. And I know we no see no leaders I cry wonder why. They must be born without eyes. Yeah. Them say the road too populated. Them want we get frustrated. Them say we black woman and child. And black man should be vaccinated. We never come here to be no human guinea pig. Yeah. So live we make we live. Make we live. Yeah. For the evil you're doing in the name of goodness, we know there are crimes. So live we make we live. Make we live. Yes now. We the people must hold the government accountable. Tell the Queen's Council accountable. We the people going hold the pharmaceutical companies accountable. Tell the constable accountable. We the people going hold the leaders and scientists accountable. Tell the Queen's Council accountable. If you rush vaccine, poison vaccine, them no care if it hurt you. What that mean accountable? Tell the constable. All the evil you're doing in a Jesus name, you are gonna charge me war crimes. For all the people you trick with politics every day through hard times. Trying to do what you did to our ancestors years ago in our time. Hope you know we know what you hope to. We've been reading all signs. We the people going hold the government accountable. Tell the Queen's Council accountable. We the people go hold the pharmaceutical companies accountable. Tell the constable accountable. We the people go hold the leaders and scientists accountable. Tell the Queen's Council accountable. If you rush vaccine, poison vaccine, them no care if it hurt you. What that mean accountable? Tell the constable. Someone got to be accountable. Tell the Queen's Council accountable. Yes now. Someone got to be accountable. Tell the constable accountable. Accountable. Yes.
Give thanks. See you guys at 7 p.m. for more. Welcome to dCyfa. Bless up. Have a blessed day. Jordy sound like get that vitamin D. You know it.